Let's just start this explainer by taking a really slow, gentle breath together. Just inhale and exhale. Welcome. Consider this a safe, quiet space for the next few minutes because today we're going to explore a feeling that so many of us carry around every single day, yet we rarely ever speak about it out loud. I'm talking about the quiet, absolutely exhausting, invisible weight of trying to be perfect. We're going to navigate the deep waters of our inner lives, stepping away from all that frantic performance and moving toward a profound healing sense of self-acceptance.
So I want to let a question just hang in the air for a second. What part of yourself are you exhausting yourself to hide? Think about it. We all carry these incredibly heavy masks. We shape ourselves, we contort ourselves, we prune away our own branches, all to conceal the fragile, deeply human parts of our nature that we secretly believe are somehow unlovable. It is just such an exhausting way to live, isn't it? And that really brings us to the core of the issue, the mask we wear, and the immense weight of the armor we carry around every day. Because, let's be honest, we curate our lives to hide the parts we deem unacceptable. We do this at work, constantly striving to prove our competence so nobody figures out we're just figuring it out as we go. We do it in our deepest romantic relationships, carefully managing exactly how we are seen. And underneath it all, there's this secret dread living inside us, a sheer terror of being unmasked. It's that creeping, whispering anxiety that says if people saw our true, unpolished, messy selves, well, we would immediately be rejected. It leaves us constantly torn between two vastly different ways of living. On one side, you have the draining act of pleasing others, which is totally driven by a deep fear of rejection. We put on the mask, we try to seduce the world with our flawless achievements and our perfect smiles. But on the exact opposite side of that spectrum is true connection. And this is the peaceful, grounded reality of just revealing your authentic, imperfect self. It's resting securely in your own vulnerability, being truly loved not for what you produce or achieve, but for who you simply are. And the symptoms of this inner tyranny, they take a heavy, heavy toll. You might find yourself overworking, right? Striving endlessly just to prove you're right to literally exist in a room. Or on the flip side, maybe you procrastinate. You get totally paralyzed by the fear that your attempt won't be flawless. It's like rewriting a simple 3-sentence email 10 times before finally closing your eyes and hitting send. We hide our true needs in silence. And the wildest part is, when the world actually does applaud us, we deflect the praise. We bat it away because we secretly feel like we've somehow tricked them into clapping. The amount of underlying stress and anxiety this constant performance creates is just immense. So how do we fix it? We have to go inward and meet the inner shadow. But we have to see it for what it truly is, a protective guardian. To heal this exhaustion, you have to realize that your inner shadow, that imposter syndrome, that inner critic, is not a monster. It is absolutely not a fatal flaw. It is just a frightened inner guardian. It's a wounded, scared part of yourself that is desperately, albeit very clumsily, trying to protect you from the unbearable pain of being rejected. It doesn't need your harsh judgment. It needs your profound, unwavering empathy. Which leads to an absolutely crucial question. Why do we declare war on the very parts of ourselves trying to keep us safe? Society uses such aggressive language for this stuff. We're told we need to crush our self-doubt. We need to battle our imposter syndrome, eliminate our flaws. But you cannot heal a frightened, trembling part of yourself by going to war with it. What if, instead, we performed a radical act of simply welcoming it in? Because when we battle ourselves, we create this incredibly painful gap. It's the quiet heartbreak of the imposter feeling. The world looks at you, they see beauty, talent, competence, and they applaud. But inside there is just dead silence, or worse, shame. We become completely blind to our own brilliant light because we are so utterly terrified of being exposed as a fraud. To close that gap, we need to dive into the ocean of self-worth and really untangle the act of doing from the state of being. See, we often build this incredibly fragile identity on what I'd call the illusion of doing. We genuinely believe we have to earn our right to be loved through constant performance, exhausting excellence, and external measurable results. And the trap is, if the results drop, we think our worth drops. But the truth of being tells a completely different story. It's the unshakable foundation that your inherent value is a constant. It lives entirely in your unchanging presence and your capacity for human connection. I want you to really visualize this for a second. The waves rise and fall, but the ocean remains. Your successes and your failures, your moments of absolute brilliance and your moments of completely stumbling in the dark, those are just the waves on the surface. They rise, they crash, they fade away. But your inherent human worth, that is the eternal, unchanging, quiet depth of the sea. The horizon doesn't move just because the water on the surface gets a little choppy.
When we truly let that sink in, we can start redefining our actual impact on the world. Think about the end of your life. When people gather to remember you, I promise you they are not going to read your resume. They won't care about your relentless, optimized output. What they will remember is the gentle quality of your presence. They'll remember the authentic, deeply real way you connected with them, the unique color you brought to their everyday world. You have profound, immeasurable value simply in the peace you bring to ordinary, quiet moments. And stepping into that reality is what I call the grace of imperfection. It's a quiet, beautiful revolution of self-acceptance. So let's actually walk through these therapeutic steps together. First, you just observe the shadow without judgment. When that imposter feeling flares up, just watch it. Literally say to yourself, my protective guardian is just feeling really scared right now. Second, accept the imperfection as beautifully human. You are allowed to be messy. That is literally the texture of life. And finally, reclaim your inherent unchanging worth. Just drop the exhausting drama of needing to be flawless. Because here is a deeply important fundamental truth. Shame cannot survive in the warm light of compassion. That terrible, sinking feeling of, I am fundamentally wrong, literally shrinks the moment we stop fleeing from it. It loses all of its power the second we turn on the light, look at ourselves, and say, you know what? It is completely okay to be exactly who I am. And once that shame shrinks down, that is when we can finally step into the light and reclaim our brilliance. We can begin the ascent. We can tentatively, beautifully start to embrace the pride, the talent, and the absolute magic we've kept hidden away in the dark for so long. This is what it looks like to live a released life. Now, it takes courage to bloom. But notice, we don't have to abandon our desire for growth to do it. You can still hold incredibly high standards, but you do it without the self-punishment. You release the exhausting drama of perfectionism. You finally allow yourself to acknowledge your unique gifts at your own level without constantly looking sideways and comparing them to the rest of the world. You find genuine, lasting joy in the quiet consistency of simply living. There is this piece of timeless, universal wisdom that perfectly captures our journey in this explainer today. We are often more terrified of our own brilliant light than we are of our deepest darkness. It's so true, isn't it? Our greatest act of courage is not hiding our flaws. Our greatest act of courage is finally allowing ourselves to shine without apologizing for it. It's the profound realization that it is a beautiful, miraculous thing to be exactly who you are. So I want to leave you with this lingering thought to carry with you today. If you no longer had to earn your right to exist, if you deeply, truly understood that your worth is as permanent and unchanging as the ocean, who would you finally allow yourself to become? Take a deep breath. Let that question settle in. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and may you walk forward today with the grace of your beautiful, entirely human imperfections.